Most people still think that you need a full-on dev team to ship a clean website. Well, today you're going to watch me build a real website for my channel without writing 90% of the boilerplate by hand. First, we'll use DeepSeek to clone the layout of a site I like, structure, sections, overall flow, and turn it into a full project I can download. We'll then drag that project into Cursor AI and utilize its AI that's integrated with our code base to refactor the entire project we've gathered from DeepSeek and hook that into any backend logic we need and make it into actual maintainable project structure. And at the end, we'll upload the finished project straight to Hostinger, which is my service provider, so that it's live for you guys to hit it and test it out in your browser. So if you've been hearing AI can build websites now, and you're wondering what that looks like in real life, well, this is it. This is the process. I'm doing this for two reasons. First, EdgeDive needs a home base. YouTube is amazing and all, but it's rented land. One algorithm change and your whole channel can vanish from people's feeds. Second, I want to show you what I call vibe coding, using AI to handle the heavy lifting so you can focus on ideas, structure, and taste. All right, enough talking. Let's actually do this. I've got the Associated Press homepage open. This is the website I want to copy. I like how they stack stories. It feels like a grown, battle-tested news layout. So I'm going to grab this URL, drop it straight into DeepSite, and use the redesign feature. Remember, DeepSite sits on top of DeepSeek, and we're basically telling a coding model, study this page, understand the layout, now rebuild it in my style. That's vibe coding in action. I'm going to prompt it to keep the clean grid and navigation, but simplify it into a blog first layout for EdgeDive with many different sections along the lines of tech, AI, news, philosophy, and finance. I'll spare you the loading spinner when I paste the prompt and let DeepSite think for a minute, and then we'll jump straight into whatever it gives us and tear it apart together. Now, here's the prompt I'm going to use. As you can see, I'm on ChatGPT because I thought it would be easier for me to just spill everything to ChatGPT, telling him exactly what I want and need and how I'm going to be utilizing DeepSite to copy the Associated Press's homepage and then redesign that into a homepage and blog-like website for my YouTube channel. And it spat out a clean prompt that's structured in a manner that DeepSite expects and works well with it. So what I'm going to do is copy all this and then paste it into DeepSite. Also, grab the URL, go to the redesign. It's already there from last time. And then let's hit this. So it's loading up. It's fetching our site. We'll come back to when it's ready. All right, we're back and it's been over 10 minutes. Still nothing. Typically, it should take 1 to 5 minutes tops. So I think there's an issue with it pulling data from apnews.com. This could happen to specific URLs. I mean, AP News may not want their website being scraped. No worries. The redesign tool at times has been finicky. So we'll leave it alone for now. Copy our prompt again, refresh the screen, and let's try just including the URL at the top and sending it. So immediately it's begun coding for us. The left side is the code base and the right side is a preview of what the code is generating. I like it so far. I'll definitely edit and tweak the aesthetics and profile image, and I don't think too much of the structure. You can also move around this top ribbon here so you can see the full preview. All right, so it paused. Gave us a weird error. Happens at times when you have a large file base. That's okay, because that's exactly why we have Cursor, to refactor and refine, dig through, and make our website production ready. So let's take a look at what it's produced so far. We have an Abouts page. Not too bad. I like it. So it makes everything organized. It gives you a template and a structure to build off of. It's not in a perfect state. Now I could keep prompting it to make it even better. There's some trial and error that will be involved here, but at the end of the day, you'll be able to continuously prompt it into refining this and fixing that error that we saw earlier. However, just because of my process and how I like to go about doing things, I just need the structure, and I'm good to root in the back end via another AI, which is more integrated with the code base in the project and has more depth to it, which will be the Cursor AI library that gives us access to tools such as OpenAI's Codex ChatGPT, as well as Claude's Sonnet. So let's take a look at the rest of the pages, and then we can proceed with downloading this project base and shipping it off to Cursor. Some of these pages I won't even change very much. It'll be more so of removing like the profile image and tweaking slightly here or there. All right, I think it looks great. So let's go ahead and download these packages. All right, now that we've moved the project base into Cursor, our IDE, we can begin editing the code and producing a professional production-ready website. And you can use anything from Visual Studios to even ChatGPT online to edit the code that you've grabbed from DeepSite. However, Cursor is great for me, in my opinion, just because it gives you access to different models and it's built on top of VS Code. So that's what we're going to be using. Let's get into this. We can see automatically that what caused DeepSite to bug out on us is more than likely going to be this navbar.js class file. And yeah, we'll just have Cursor take a look. We can put it in ask mode or agent mode, even plan mode. And ask mode, I use this about 25% of the time. The rest of the time I use agent mode. Never really use plan mode, but it could be awesome. Feel free to use what you want. I'll start off with agent mode just to have it fix the bug, and then we can proceed from there. I forgot to mention that ask mode won't edit your code base, so that could be a safer bet if you want to review any updates and edits that Cursor or any of these agent models are looking to do prior to then switching it to the agent and then having it implement those changes that you guys have discussed in ask mode. I do that sometimes when it gets complicated, right? But for the purposes of this, it's meant to be a vibe code session. And these few HTML and JavaScript files are not overly complicated. All right, it's finished doing its thing. So let's see what it's come up with. All right, here's the findings. We found a critical error in the navbar.js. We knew that. That's fine. So as you notice, it hasn't made any changes. We still have that error there. And if you've used Cursor before, you know that before it even implements any updates and saves it into our local code base, we have to first review and then accept those changes. So sometimes when you use agent, it still plans it out. That's fine. We'll tell it, please implement these updates, and it's going to go ahead and fix these items for us. First, it's going to implement a navigation bar. It's going to add a footer, content card, filter, chip components. It's going to fix and clean all those up, and then it's going to clean up the duplicate scripts files that it found. We'll be good to test it out from there. All right, we've got our result. Let's review. I've accepted it first because I can always go back and have it redo any changes. It's fixed up the broken HTML sub. What we can do if we're novice to this is we can simply ask it and right now it's switched to auto. Interesting. I typically like using, I'm going to switch off from auto. I'm going to use Claude Sonnet 4.5 just because for more complicated, comprehensive projects, I use Codex, and you guys will see those in later videos. But for website building and organization, I tend to use Sonnet 4.5. And 5.1 GPT, all these are great. Okay, I asked it a question, right? You know, how should I test the pages and how should I structure, organize the project? Instead of replying with a response and recommendations, it went ahead and began to implement these changes that it feels to be appropriate, and you can follow along with it. Created a README testing guide, package.json. You need this. A git nor in case you want to upload it to your GitHub account, repository, which I may do. Now, to actually test my pages, we have to use npm install in our terminal and start that local server. It typically opens with localhost 8000, whatever number you want behind this, and we should create a virtual environment linked to this project so we're not downloading packages in our local repository connected to our computer that we won't need for general tasks. So let's do this. Let's ask Cursor to build that virtual environment for us. And before we do that, we should accept and keep all of the changes it provided. And let's please And let's see what it does for us. It's using PowerShell. And you can see to the left here that it's created this .venv folder, which will store all the packages that we install for this virtual environment here. And as you see, the green prefix there, my virtual environment is activated. So when I now do npm install, gonna load here for a bit. As you can see this little, here we got 48 packages. It's found 0 vulnerabilities. Awesome. That means our file-based repository, it's simple. Now we can go back to the instructions it's given us and do npm start. And it's loading. Give it a second. Okay, I'm going to use Firefox. I should have just clicked always, but it's whatever. Oh, this is awesome. As you can see, this is built off of what DeepSite gave us. It's done an amazing job, and I think this is going to be workable. So as you see, we're able to use npm install, which is a Node.js application, allowing us to utilize JavaScript runtime environment and run JavaScript on the server side. And here we are, and it has allowed us to start our application, giving us a demo. And this is what DeepSite by DeepSeek has given us. It's awesome. We even have a dark mode feature here. Again, this video is not meant to be too technical. It's meant to just show you the process and how easy it is. Our website has multiple pages. We even have a little filter bar here. The footnote seems to be holding. The about section, perfect. We're gonna have to edit all this, of course. This is just what DeepSite utilized as temporary placeholders, and we won't have to go digging too deep because Cursor AI will help us navigate our web-based project and do all the digging and editing for us. And we're going to root all the back end, ensure that this contact submit support widget here actually sends a message. Let's get into this. All right, so we're going to use ChatGPT to analyze our current website and prompt it with some screenshots as well as the file spec and this prompt here where we just tell it to review the images of the website and give us tips on structure as well as do some searching. So we have to turn on web search so it can find articles for us to give it so that those website article widgets actually work and take you somewhere. And it's not just dummy files. So let's go. All right. So I received my output from ChatGPT on improvements that I could make to my website to give it more of an EdgeDive YouTube channel appeal and update it to some recent news articles as well as some of my more recent YouTube channels, and even give it my socials like the YouTube, X, Reddit. You can give it GitHub, etc. So what we're going to do here is just skim through really quickly. He says that it's already looking really clean. We're just one round away from some wiring to give it a real feeling. And he's going to break this into 3 sections: the structure, what text to put where, and 5 to 10 concrete article media entries we can drop into our content bin. So let's take a look here and just skim through. Perfect. Just giving a skim. This is more of a skim for how you guys can prompt and vibe code your way into generating your own website for whatever purpose, be it your YouTube channel, your business website, etc. So what we can do is now just copy ChatGPT's response and then feed it into Cursor AI. Now I've copied just prompts 1 and 2 from ChatGPT. I'm going to save chat prompt 3 just because it's a bit long, and typically it's better to feed AI agents prompts in bite-sized pieces, better on the token sizes, and they give you a more robust and distilled response back. But here, I felt that 1 and 2 were appropriate for just one prompt. So still using Sonnet 4.5. Again, if you use VS Code, they also have an AI agent chat box that you can install extensions to. Claude AI, even Codex. As you can see, it generated its own to-do list while in agent mode. It's crossed off 4 out of the 6, has 2 more. It's updating the contact page to support sections. Okay, good on that. Now it's going to consider future nav improvements. So some documentation. Perfect. As you make these updates with Node.js, what's so great about it is that you can see your updates live. So as you can see, give me 1 sec. Let me make sure I save it. It's a bit frustrating that it takes this long for document improvements. At least it's doing its work and being thorough. All right, so it's finished responding to our prompt and implemented these updates. It has yet to update the articles. As you can see, it's given us some action steps to take here. What I'm going to do first is sidestep this, because what I want to do is update the profile image to be more my YouTube channel profile image. And so what we're going to do is create an assets folder, and you can do it within the project. Oh, we already have one actually. Images. There's no images in there yet. So I'm going to, whatever images I want to show up on my website, I'm going to upload inside of an assets folder. And you can just do it directly in there or keep it more organized depending on how big your project is. We already have this. Cursor more than likely created this. Here we go. If you see here, replace images, then we have to go and add images to assets. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go find some images I like. All right, so I placed my profile image into the image directory. And so now we can call on it for our website. And next step is we're going to notify cursor. Just copy the relative path just to make sure it understands exactly which image you're referring to, prevents any bottlenecks. And I'm going to also go back into ChatGPT and we'll just grab the entire prompt and go back into cursor. And now we're going to let it go to work. All right, so cursor has finished generating its response. It's even saying that we're production ready. Interesting. It's done everything that we've asked. Let's keep all, and it should refresh, but let's double check. Awesome. Yeah, we didn't even have to redo the prompt or terminal input for the npm start, and everything that we pushed through has flown in. You can see the YouTube links we've provided it. It's included, and this is looking close to a production ready website. Let's check out the rest, the articles. Okay, articles may need some work. Let's see if it works. Yeah, these are real articles. Awesome. Perfect. Next version 2 of this, I'm going to allow for article thumbnails to be available just like this, just so it can have that nice picture. Let's go to the about section. Independent research. Not too bad. I'll obviously want to mainstream this and fine tune it, distill it into something that's more fitting for this channel. See, it sounds kind of edgy. Let's see if these links work. Perfect, it does. So this YouTube link isn't working. We'll have to fix that. GitHub is working. You always want to test your code, especially if an AI generated it. What also isn't working is this. So what I'm going to do is screenshot. So interestingly enough, this homepage YouTube link is working fine. So it's specific to this about page. We'll have to specify that to cursor. Okay, this is finally working, so I don't know what's going on. It could just be, sometimes it takes a while for the cookies to load and save, but hey, our number one problem was going to be this homepage link thumbnail that's not working, but it's finally working. Let's check if the about link is working. Yeah, it's working great. So this is production ready. The contact, let's see here. I'm gonna ask cursor how it works. All right, so I'm gonna prompt it to ensure that the contact page gets routed to my edgedive.com email address to make sure I get those messages from this page here. When users send us a message or when people sign up for these research and support newsletters, we got to make sure that those work appropriately. And other than that, we also want to ensure that we are rate limiting submissions, because we don't want any nefarious individuals to keep slamming our server with requests, as that can cause damage to our code base as well as make the performance decrease. So we want to make sure that we're appropriately rate limiting these requests, any buttons that users can click, use. We're also going to make sure that we use those CAPTCHA requests when appropriate. I know those are annoying, but will make sure that they don't decrease the performance and accessibility of the website. So let's just go ahead and submit this. So it's going to go ahead and set up the contact form, make sure that it's fully functional, that it routes the emails appropriately, and include rate limiting, the reCAPTCHA, and also create us a privacy and policy page. I forgot to mention that earlier, but that's going to be important too, especially if we would like to monetize this website via Google AdSense and more of the professional routes for monetization and earning money via ads on your web page. That'll be something we can touch on more down the line. Right now, the purpose of this video is for us to get out a fully functional demo site that our audience can go to, and that will be our homepage, if you will. So that's outside of the scope of this video. It created a to-do list, 5 items on this list. It's working on setting up the contact form with the email routing. Second on the list is add reCAPTCHA to forms. Third, create privacy policy page. 4, implement rate limiting. That's important, as well as 5, add a privacy links to the folder, which will then route them to our privacy and policy page. And that could be anything basic. You can have ChatGPT script it up for you and fine tune it. I will do that. But right now, Cursor is the best bet to just get the structure working. We'll save all after we review the edits, and then we'll go on to ChatGPT and refine the privacy and policy and ensure that we're encapsulating what's necessary, as well as ensure that our techniques that Cursor has implemented for reCAPTCHA and rate limiting are appropriate for this code, and we'll see where it takes us from there. All right, so it's finished thinking and has updated our code up to the specifications of our prompt. You can review everything that it's implemented and updated from its response here. I trust it enough. So let's go ahead and keep all, but first remember it's going to be the content.html and privacy.html. Those are the updated files that have our reCAPTCHA and rate limiting logic. So what I want to do is copy that content, and then I'm going to take it to ChatGPT, provide it to it along with the privacy.html, and say, and along with having it review our rate limiting, reCAPTCHA, and privacy policy page, I also noticed that I almost forgot about the filters column. So I would love for this to work. So I want to make sure that it does, and I'll have ChatGPT review that, as well as give it the code. It was on the articles page. There we go, .html, and just copy everything and provide it to it. Okay, perfect. Let's have it think. ChatGPT has finished thinking, and it's gotten us a great response because it has found a couple of real bugs inside of our program, specific to the reCAPTCHA and rate limiting features. So that's going to be great to get this fixed. We'll just copy all this and throw it into Cursor and have it refactor our code. It's updated our privacy page as well as the external links, ensuring that they're robust. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to look into this optional feature, Formspree. Yeah, let's do that. So just copy everything there, go into Cursor, edit out the response, and send it off. All right, so Cursor is going to go to work. It created its own to-do list, and the first thing up on the chopping block is fix the check rate limit return type bug, fix success message copy, update privacy policy with Formspree details, 4, implement filter chip functionality, and finally add rel equals no opener to external links. Just something to make our rate limiting and reCAPTCHA verification a lot more robust, and this should take no longer than 5 minutes, and then we'll review and analyze, pretty much auditing everything that it has implemented. All right, so Cursor has finished thinking, and it has responded to us, giving us the updated file specs. All we have to do is review everything and then keep all. Then everything is saved onto our local project repo. And interestingly, looks like we have to do a couple steps first here. This I didn't know about. I didn't know that Formspree. I just thought it was a package that we would be able to install, but no. Let me take a look. Looks like we have to gather Formspree and reCAPTCHA keys for our API. Now, so you can always, if you want to pivot and not use any more third parties outside of your IDE, right, your cursor or ChatGPT and like DeepSite, that's all you would like to do. You can still continue to vibe code this out. Simply just prompt cursor here to please implement reCAPTCHA and the rate limiting without the use of any APIs. But for the purposes of security, and because I'm going to continue to flesh this out into version 2, version 3 of my website, just to make sure that everything is robust and professional, I would like to use the best APIs off the bat. And if it's going to be free, then I'm going to create this Formspree account and the reCAPTCHA key. I'll go and grab that, and if this isn't free, then I'll show you guys how to do the prompt of, hey, rewire this reCAPTCHA, and utilize some other free open source version, right, where I don't have to use an API code and update my credit card somewhere. But we'll be back. I'm going to keep all still and register to Formspree. All right, so I'm back, guys. I went ahead and I created the Formspree and reCAPTCHA accounts, and I grabbed those secret codes. It was a pretty painless process. I was able to create these accounts for free. As you can see, Google's reCAPTCHA gives me up to 10K assessments a month at no cost. So they do have some paid tiers, but for now, the free tiers will be enough to get us going. So what we're going to do is go ahead and analyze the output given to us by Cursor, because I gave it my Google reCAPTCHA secret key and message, as well as the Formspree link, and it went ahead and refactored my program so that it now has those secret API keys, allowing us to now call them and utilize them in our program. And as you can see, we've gotten the reCAPTCHA badge. That's all good. We're using version 3. Version 3, it's just a score-based system, pretty much tests the user's interactions with the site and cookies, if you will. So we'll have to update our privacy policy statement, as you see there, because we're kind of tracking a little bit more to give them that painless verification process versus reCAPTCHA version 2. It's the version where it makes the user complete and solve one of those puzzle pieces that makes us groan out loud. And so I decided to avoid that and use version 3, where it's invisible and score based, right? So painless, but there's less security there. All right, so it's updated the content page and privacy, as well as wrote down some notes in some documents regarding to the secret verification and the reCAPTCHA version 3 info. So we're just going to go ahead and keep all. Again, you don't have to necessarily utilize reCAPTCHA or Formspree, rate limiting and all that. That's just a process which will help set you up for partnering with third parties like Google AdSense and parties that you may need to get monetized, and that would need to first parse through your website and ensure that it's up to professional standards. And a privacy policy statement is typically needed for those instances, as well as if you're creating a website, it'll just be helpful all around to implement some sort of rate limiting feature to prevent a bunch of requests being flown through and bombarding your database and servers. All right, we digress. Let's go ahead and review these updates that we just implemented here. Go to our local host and just refresh, because again, as long as it's running in our terminal here, that is our initial npm start, we're all set to just keep refreshing the page. You can see that all the updates that we've made get flown through as soon as we save it to the local host. So everything here is appropriate. One thing I'm going to ask Cursor to update is to, you see this my profile badge here at the top left. I'm going to ask it to go ahead and make that my actual profile image. All right, so I went ahead and requested Cursor to update that appropriately. We'll wait to see what it says and review the update. And then what I want to do is I want to test out this contact and support feature, making sure that it works and routes the emails appropriately. Let's take a look. So this says that it's updated the purple gradient text. So let's see it. Okay, I'm going to restart the Node.js. It may just be that it'll take a second to route there. First, I'm going to install anything extra, because again, all those updates that Cursor made, they could include newer packages, and this is just going to ensure that everything is up to date. Before we had 48, now we have 49, and there's 0 vulnerabilities, so we're good to now start our testing dev localhost. And as you can see, it's refreshed instantly, and that top left header profile icon is now showing as my YouTube channel profile image. So that's great. And everything is still linked up properly in the back end. Our articles are still there. This is going to be something we touch up on and edit later on. And I want to have it fix this navigation. But before I have it fix the article's page structure, ensuring that the filter mechanism for the pages displays the correct number of articles, and it's counting that. And this sort by feature, let's review that and ensure that this all. So I'm gonna go ahead and just write up my list now. I'll also include a screenshot of our issue. 2, the sort by feature for our articles library is not working. And 3, well, we don't have a 3 yet. Perfect. So that categories update we implemented, it's working great. I'm going to also request Cursor to include the privacy policy page in our toolbar navigation. Here, I'm going to try a real email, because that could be the issue here. No, so I'm going to have it also refactor this. Could also be because the site is not live. All right, so I'll send that off to Sonnet. We'll be back once it fixes our issues. All right, so we gotten our results from Cursor. It's finally finished thinking and implemented the updates. And it mentioned that it's not sure what the contact form issue is, but it has implemented better error handling and debugging. So when that issue, if it does happen again, we'll be able to go and audit and receive maybe a reason that can help us pinpoint the issue. But while it's been thinking, I've been thinking as well, and the issue more than likely has to do with our use of a third-party vendor, Google reCAPTCHA. And this is more just because that the code is simple, and it's been implemented cleanly by Cursor. I reviewed it, and there doesn't seem to be any issues with our code, so it clued me into another debugging technique. Like, let's now pivot to outside something that's out of our control, right? Which is our third-party vendor, our API usage. And as you see here, I've provided it with extra domains, because before it was just this EdgeDive domain, but now I've given it the local host domain. And I believe it should work now. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's just restart the terminal. Ensure we're still inside. Okay. Well, we're not in our virtual environment, which is kind of frustrating, just because we more than likely downloaded those packages last time in our root local drive, our actual computer, which is fine. I'll be able to go dig through that. And it was only 49 packages, but no problem. We'll just go ahead and make sure we're in that virtual environment here. Perfect. It's automatically started this up. Let's go into the contact form. Use what we used before. Hello world. Agree to this. Send the message. Something wrong. But here's our reCAPTCHA issue. So more than likely, this has to do with our local host usage. So no worries, because I believe this should work when we go and live update it. We'll go ahead and package this up, build it, get it ready to be deployed into our Hostinger, which is our server provider, and you can use multiple ones. I've used Firebase in the past. It's great. For this purposes, when I do a simpler project, I lean towards Hostinger just because I can go and upload the bin directly into their file manager space. So let's go and prompt Cursor AI to review the code base and get ready for us to build it. And then I'll walk you guys to uploading this to a live website. All right, it's finished thinking and has provided us with our usage steps into building our distribution folder, which will allow us to then upload that into Hostinger and deploy our site live. So we're going to go ahead and end this terminal, open another one, and let's copy this build instruction. You can see it gave a little space, so run. What it's going to do, build script. I went ahead and I asked Cursor what is wrong, and I was gonna fix it on the back end myself, but then I recalled that this is a vibe coding video, so that you guys don't have to code and understand anything technical. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell it to now implement steps 1 to 4 because I would like to do the build myself. I'm gonna switch things up. I'm gonna use ChatGPT 5.1. All right, so Cursor's finished steps 1 to 3 and has left the final npm run build step for us. So let's go ahead and run that. And before we click that, we'll keep all, then submit that to the cursor, rather the terminal, and it went pretty fast. It did everything appropriately, and we can see here to the left, we have a new folder. It's called distribution, and that's going to be the folder we upload to the file manager on Horizon. So let's go ahead and navigate there. So this is Hostinger, my server domain provider, and it's going to allow us to upload our distribution file spec into their file manager and deploy our website live. I use Hostinger because it's simple. We can upload the static file specs, the HTML files, directly into their file manager, and it will refresh and deploy our website for live usage, making it production ready. Remember, after we ran npm build, we were generated this distribution folder which contains all the files that we will upload into Hostinger's file manager. So let's do this. Hostinger, it was pretty quick to create my domain. As you can see here, I created it today for this video, EdgeDive.com for our YouTube channel. Let's get into this. File manager, it takes us to a different separate tab, and this public underscore HTML, it's going to be what you want to upload all the files that will make your website run. Let's do this now. As you notice, there's this file that we didn't create. It's already here. It's a default.php file, and the name is exactly what it is. It's just a default file. You can delete this as soon as you upload your HTML, your index file. Let's get into this. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go into my file explorer, pull up our project. Mine is called EdgeDive homepage, and go into the distributed, or rather the distribution folder that was created from the build. And everything in here, the actual folder itself, we're going to upload right into that public HTML space. So what I'm going to do is grab everything, drop it in here. And I'm going to create a folder that'll let me. A new folder, call it assets. I'm going to drop in another folder in there. Images, just copying exactly how my distribution folder has everything laid out. Upload that. Go back into the main route distribution. We have one more, the components folder. So I'm going to make sure I grab that new folder. Again, I'm titling everything the same, and I'm just structuring my public HTML as though it was my local drive's dist distribution folder. And so everything, it's uploaded. Get it here side by side. We have the assets, we have the components, and we have all this from about HTML to the style CSS file. So we're good to go. And again, there's no save button here because everything is just automatically modified. You see here a few seconds ago. So let's go back and clear the cache, and let's see how it looks. Awesome. Check out the URL there. It's live at edgedive.com. No wait time. Everything is loading. You can go and test this out yourself.
For the past decade, we've watched artificial...
Awesome. This is great, guys. And our sort by, it's working. Let's see if this works now. Crossing my fingers. Message has been sent successfully. Awesome. So everything is functional. At least everything we've tested out in the website, it's looking great. I mean, even our dark mode, it looks great. I'm feeling pretty confident in calling this version 1. We did it, guys. We sat down together and we vibe coded our YouTube channel's website in one sitting. So check it out. DeepSite is great, and vibe coding is the next big thing. People are already making millions and millions off of it. You could be the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please give a like, comment down below, and subscribe.